Ladies, gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. It's a cause for celebration, a huge cause for celebration. I just sat through 21 minutes. I couldn't help myself. Like, I said to myself, like, this is all of, like, incel TV that I need to watch. But, like, I was definitely curious about how he was going to react to the whole liberation of Iran from the regime and stuff. And, like, you gotta, like, hand it to him. When I said, and I was just joking about it, it was just like, it was an insult mostly thrown at Hassan because it's like, Hassan doesn't want to be associated with a guy like this. You know what I mean? It's just too cool, man. Incel TV, Hassan Avi, two separate things. Or are they? Hassan's brother from another mother. Yeah, that's right. Incel TV, aka Rehab Room, has spiraled. So is Hassan, so is everybody. But let me get into Rehab Room first. So Rehab Room comes out with this video talking about the liberation of Iran. And this is the thing that I hate about these like cucked out guys, right? And in the case of Rehab Room, like he is of the clan of the man loving clan. And like I said, like I think we should stop shaming people about this like kind of lifestyle choice because if it's your only avenue from like being alone or whatever, I think it's more accepting today as long as like you're not like out in public like kissing and shit. I'm just trying to be realistic about it, but and then like a lot of people are gonna think I'm throwing insults or this and that. It's like, how are you gonna talk about this shit and then see like all the girls dancing, like what all the people are posting and stuff about their freedom, and like this guy just cherry picks like what he would consider like, because he's catering to his audience, sub five or whatever guys that will like basically be suffering the same way he's been suffering in the Middle East or whatever he comes from and shit. He said he's living in a non-Anglo-Saxon country, so it's most likely Sweden or Germany, and giving him fucking benefits and shit. And it's most likely that's why he has like such good English and stuff, because like those are like big English countries and shit. Like a lot of people who speak English. English films, whatever. I don't know. I'm just like thinking out loud because it's like, the whole idea of like, you know, America, UK, and then like Australia by extension, like these English big ass like countries that, but he's most likely living up in there, like, just talking his shit, man, talking his shit for the sake of the Iranian regime. What's the matter, Rehab Room? Oh man, you see all these hot girls posting thirst traps, as he calls it, and I'm just like, well, yeah. Or like, if you think about the historic relevance of this, like, if Khomeini was still around and they did this, they would be killed. They'd be like taken to these jails. That, like, you're sticking up for this. Like, this is the fucked up part. He doesn't know. Like, if you're gonna like talk about a subject, at least do some like research. The cops are in on it, alright? Like, the reason why the cops precinct got bombed out is because they work with the IRGC. They're part of the regime, dude. Like, hold up. Didn't you see the videos where they're like, on like those mopeds and shit? They got like fucking machetes and like hacking people's faces. Or about that other one, I posted this one on Instagram. They probably pissed them off. If you like checked out my Instagram, it's just this one guy, and he's like spraying some like flammable like fluid on this like cop guy on a bike, and then the cop guy tries to arrest him. He just like sets off her. He's trying to like be the mature one in the room by like bringing up how long it's gonna take to rebuild Iran. No, dog. First of all, I'm sorry to say this, but like Iraq was run by a fucking retard, and I'm not saying like the Persian, Al Khamenei was that much smarter, but like he's not like, you know, he didn't have sex with his, well, to my knowledge, he didn't have sex with his own cousin and give birth to Uday Hussein. Shit, like yo, like you're gonna have like, and then you hear about the shit that that guy did, like you know he like killed some like couple on their wedding, fucking demonic ass fucker. Well, I'm going off topic. It's crazy how like so many people are for the repeated like regime tyranny and control. It's and it's also kind of like messed up how people have thought that the markets will be impacted in like this negative way, and yet there's like talks of like Venezuelan oil going to America. You know, like people are just like they've planned ahead for this. Like the fact that like people have to do business with tyrants is just like ridiculous, right? Like, you know, Germany with the whole deal with Russia and shit, and then they're supplying Ukraine with weapons, and also Germany with money, so then they're getting their weapons, and it's just like weird, man. Some like fucking PMC type bullshit, and then they get the oil pipeline like bombed out and shit. It was like this weird ass thing where like, why would you do that though? Like, why would you start a war and expect to like, you know, have your like resources off like, you know, limits? But then that's not even talking about the whole, you know, shadow war inside of Ukraine to ethically cleanse out the Russian people from their country. This is weird shit because it's like it's funny to me as like, you know, a color person, as an outsider looking in, like to see shit like that going out, and it's just like, oh man. And now they know how it feels like to be me. Shit. So like rehab room, right? Talking about like, you know, how these oofy doofies can't get these Persian girls, and then like the Persian girls are gonna be the exact same as like these girls in the North American, and like he always likes to point at like the worst examples, and like I like that about him because it's just like it shows how like how much he has to cope with the fact that like he likes men, so he has to find like, oh no, but women, they're like this. Let me show you this like example. She's so bad, and like yeah, I'll admit there's like a lot of bad women, like you know, case in point, Jasleen, right? Like that other girl who was like you know got treatment from a guy while she was like, you know, had like, you know, surgeries or some cancer or some shit like that, and then like left him afterwards. Hmm. There's like tons of examples, but like if you think that like it's like that, I was like asking myself this question. So like, why isn't like a lot of girls like that? Like my family's not like that. A lot of girls in my family aren't like that. You know, like they're just normal and shit. I guess. Like I don't pry into their business, but they seem like you know, a little bit far fetched from that, like, you know, using of guy phenotype. They're more like, you know, independent, intelligent, capable. And like, why wouldn't the Iranian women be like that? It's like just you're just selling them short as some sort of like childlike bimbo ass clown type thing. And this is why the IRGC has been ruling over these women with an iron fist for so long. It's because they don't understand women when they're attracted to men. They see women as a status symbol. Like these guys see women as a status symbol. That's why they rate each other's looks so freely. That's why they're like trying to always be there for each other, like as you know, fellow men. Because when it comes down to it, there are like you know limitations to what you can accomplish based on your looks and this and that. But these people who dwell in that realm of like you know pain and suffering, they only want to bring that pain to other people so that they can feel it too, basically. 27, 27 minutes, too. Wait, was it 27 minutes? Let me check. I think it was like 21, actually. But like the whole spiral, dude. I mean, he's not alone. Like Hassan's feeling the whole burn, talking about like how he's got to sue somebody, which is fucking clown ass hilarious. Oh my bad, it's 21 minutes. My bad. It wasn't as interesting as clavicle. Clavicular. Which that one was actually 27 and 54 seconds, 28 fucking minutes for clavicular, and then 21 minutes to like talk about these whole ass Persian girls. Yo, man, Rehab Room is 100% a heterosexual. Trust me. There's no evidence to the contrary. Oh, dude. Like, alright, man. Alright. It's okay. It's okay to come out, man. Um, I like I love the part too where like this he's talking about these separatists that are fighting for the IRGC and shit. And it's like you do realize that the chain of command, right, is based off of fear and whether or not like, people at the highest positions got their slice, right? So what that means is it's not an equal pay type of employment, you know what I mean? Like not an equal type of opportunity type of like, lifestyle. There's people who are in the highest positions who even have kids who are like, not non-religious, living like a luxurious life. And as long as they and other people like that in the highest positions are taken care of, them and their families, like everybody's just a fucking slave. So these people that they're fighting against are just conscripts or like fanatics that they're just gonna lose. This isn't gonna be a war that like lasts a long time. This is going to be a war that lasts maybe a year, maybe two, just to like root these people out because they keep building tunnels under the ground like rats, right? And people like say that's like a racist term. Well, I call some Jewish people that. Do I consider all Jewish people like that? No, but like you act like that, you're gonna be you do the kinds of behavior that will be associated with it, and I'm just gonna call it you that. And I understand that like some people can get offended by just me saying that because of historical comparisons and this and that. I understand where you're coming from. But that's not important, man. You know what's important? Them mans be spiraling hard, yo. Hard, man. We gotta celebrate that shit, man. Celebrate. Get your PlayStation. Get your PC. Xbox is, I don't know what the fuck's happening with Xbox. Yo, when it's gonna pop off on PlayStation, and I got no hate for Xbox, yo. It's been a good run. But it's gonna pop off on PlayStation when that Halo game comes out. You know it is. You know it is. Oh, and Sony's like, yo, pull it back. I say, yo, man, I told you Ghost of Yote was sick, man. So Sony's just like, yo, this game is too good. We can't give up the goods for this. I think Neo 3 is actually on PC, if I'm not mistaken. I've seen some people play it. They played it on PC. So I'm not sure if it's a first party title, but like I'm telling you, man. People are trashing that game too because of that female protagonist. Oh, by the way, next week they're coming out with the online version, the Legends for Ghost of Yote. Oh, dude, it's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so good. I haven't even actually beaten it. I'm gonna like post some videos about me hustling to beat this game. I'm so lame. I'm just trying to give like Daemon X Machina, Titanic Scion a chance because I love Japanese mecha games and anime and stuff. And I'm probably gonna make some videos about it because I need to like finish all the missions and do some unlockable things. Because it's like I don't know why I just find the game fun for like the weirdest reasons. It's like You know, it has like a combo system, and it has like the ability to stagger enemies and do like, you know, critical hits, and then like or throw them into other enemies or into objects and stuff. Yeah, it's deep. And then there's Mech Warrior. I'm actually on the fence to get like the last DLC. All it does is like give me some like new weapons and like a mech. It's like maybe some new missions and stuff too. So much to look forward to, right? And that's like just I just like video games and stuff. That's not even real. Like, you know, can you imagine you go outside and you see all these girls like waving the Persian flag? Everybody's pissed. Yo, I did not know this. I did not know that like Pakistani and Bangladeshi guys were like, you know, pushing out their chest in the UK, because it's like, okay, I know some of the Pakistani guys in North America and some, well, no, I don't know any Pakistani guys in America, but I imagine it's like more or less the same situation where you have some of the good and some of the bad ones, right? Um, but in the UK, where you just don't have that filter on that immigration, like you know what I mean? Like you don't have like people being rejected at the like the border, saying like, sir, you know, I don't know where you come from, I don't know, like, you know, what your motives are for entering into this country and shit like that. I don't know if you have a criminal background or record or any of this shit. You're just like, you know, you want to stay in this country and shit. In the UK, it's like, oh, are you gonna vote for Labour? Are you gonna vote for Keir Starmer? Fuck, dog. This is like a fucking lost cause for these motherfuckers, and they're so sour. They're so fucking angry about it. They're like, America, it's forever wars. And you see the protesters that are coming out. Yo, these are people who gotta like, yo, they gotta get their fucking ass beat, man. Like, what are they fucking around for? They're talking about like, yo, basically enslaving up these girls and mans and shit, dude. Like, it's not just the girls, man. It's like the entire fucking country gotta like give it up for this fucking, you know, party of like people who like, when you see their kids, right? I saw the pictures. I was just like, I'm shocked. First of all, they're not wearing a hijab or anything like that. Guy's like, he just looks like some, you know, regular ass dude, and he's just rich and shit, and he's got security. And that's how they lit it up. And that's the side that you don't see, that they don't want you to see. They're talking about like leaving these guys alone. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to be the child of basically a regime that like is a dictator force, like theocracy that is self-serving, more or less, right? Well, I guess it means trips to Dubai and stuff. So I always hated that. People like, you know, repping that place and shit. It's just like, where does the money go to get washed? You know, from Sudan, from the IRGC, it goes there, man. The UAE. And you think it's by accident that these missiles hit the country and shit? They're probably like tipped off and stuff, but nobody wants to talk about that because it's just like, oh, you just don't need more enemies right now. Well, sorry, dog, you have nothing but enemies, especially when you make like more enemies as you like, you know, people are saying like, yo, I'm not your enemy, but like, you know, like these damn Jews, man, it's all your fault for like, you know, um, what is it? You know, they basically liberating the people from Iran. And if you really want to break it down, it's like more or less like a retaliation. Like, can you imagine you tell America, like after Pearl Harbor, okay, um, don't retaliate, and just, you know, they're very sorry. They'll never do it again. And then that's it. And then they leave Japan alone. Imagine that's how it played out. And that's what these guys want with Iran. They're just like, no, just like, leave the regime alone. They're so innocent. They didn't do anything. They had 0% like, influence or funding or even knowledge of the October 7th attack. They had nothing. They had nothing. They're so innocent. Khomeini is so innocent little baby. See, he's holding up this little goat he recently had sex with. Guys are fucked, man. Guys are fucked. Rehab is fucked, man. Like, yo, how are you gonna pretend that you're heterosexual when you have more to say about like basically clavicular, right? And like, man's like thirsting after him and all that shit over like, an actual conflict dealing with like these hot girls in Iran and this and that. No, your dog, you just got paid off, or you're just like repping for your fucking old ass religion, even though you're trying to remain impartial, talking about, oh, I have no loyalty for this religion. Yeah, you do, man. Yeah, you do. This is your religion. This is the religion of inceldom. Yeah, dog, this is what created you. This is what created your people. So shit. And the fact that you have to like, stomach it too. The loss. The all you people have to lose and accept like the complacency that like when given a choice, these women will not choose you. Like that's what you're basically crying over. And like hell, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, sometimes I feel like angry at women that didn't choose me or like treated me badly, this and that. But you mature out of it because you realize that a lot of those times like it was pushed upon you or like you're just in a setting that was inconvenient, but it seemed convenient at the time. And then you open up your prospects and like broaden your horizons and you find somebody eventually. I mean, hopefully, right? Like, you just can't do that without like exercising, without like, taking a little bit of care to yourself and like, normalizing a routine where I'm probably gonna have to make a separate video about this, even though I made this like video like a long ass 28-minute ass video because I just want to talk about more of the spirals and shit. Excuse me. Um, but like you only have so many calories in a day to like utilize, right? Maybe for some like crazy athletes out there, there's like no limit or like a really high limit that like you can't physically can't even like absorb or eat that much, and they just like I don't know like burn off like body fat or something, and then like I'm just saying like on average, most people just can utilize like let's say a couple thousand, maybe 10,000 plus calories in a day, right? And that involves everything your bodily function, talking, working out, you know, exercising, burning weight, showering, all that shit. Chores too. Like even thinking, writing. Or if you don't do that, like typing, I guess. And if you don't respect that and utilize like a percentage of it, like let's say less than five, right? To just hit a physical limit of your body. Let's say you're concentrating on your arms or whatever, your abs, your legs, whatever, right? You just work towards that. Maybe you can compound it, like I do. Like I'll go like lower body and abs, and then like I just like to focus on my arms and because it's like arms is like chest, back. It's not just like one muscle group. So it's like if I'm gonna do upper body, I'm gonna do upper body, lower body, lower body, and I'm just like bringing this up as an example as to like what it takes to impress girls, right? Because like oftentimes I get told like how young I look, and then I tell people like subsequently like, hey, this is what I do a day, and then they just like nod it off like I'm just either shit talking or like trying to like make fun of or something. No, this is what I genuinely do. If I like broke down like how I work out, like the whole systematic like effort of like okay, let's say I want to do 300 sit-ups, right? Like just the fact that I would say that sounds more or less like I'm bragging and shit, but like that's these are the things that it takes, especially if like for me I have like an eating disorder, maybe because I smoke so much and shit. But like like I'll gain weight, right? So I gotta do something to do about that. And then also I don't necessarily look good with facial hair, so I gotta shave that off. And then like like there's things like tons of things I have to do, right? Deodorant, cologne. Uh, it, if I want what I see, and it's not guaranteed to me, you know, obviously, but like I have to at least try. And it's like that idea that you're putting this insurmountable obstacle in front of you, and you calling it a woman, and then you resort to insulting them, and then like calling them like basically people who are ungrateful, and they're going to and hell, this is the meaning of freedom, dude. Like, yeah, I don't like it either when it happens. Like, let's say from members of my race and shit, right? But it happens, and like, if you don't let it happen, you're not gonna know if it's genuinely love or not, because you're just basically controlling people. But like, people are going to act like, you know, whatever. They're going to be hypergamous. They're going to go for that the giga chat or whatever you want to call it. Like, that's just, you know, normal life, man. And like, even though like you can argue against the morality in those instances, like, no, it's not going to be everybody, and not even like, I don't even think it's going to be a large enough percentage of you to even bring up as a point of contention, because I think you're just saying this much like a lot of these people are saying that, like, you know, Iranians are like, you know, in a worse off situation because of this. It's a cope, man. You're not thinking straight. You're not actually understanding the situation. I mean, I get it, man. I get it. It sucks. Like, guys, um, it's against your, you know, whole code and shit. You live a shameful life. You see all these girls, beautiful and shit, and you probably think to yourself, "Oh, I couldn't get him anyway." But it was your choice. You wanted to give up on, you know, girls. You and your, you know, crowd of guys and shit. And sad to say that, like, you know, much like Hassan, you know, you're just spiraling, man. But it's a good time for us. I mean, thanks for watching my long ass 28-minute video. That's what you get. You make a 28-minute video about clavicular. I make a 28-minute video about how much of a loser you are and how hot these Persian girls are, because you're dumb. Alright? Take care, everybody.